Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the web design class week 2. Today we continue what we started last week, learning HTML, and then we will now introduce another feature of web design, that is the cascading style sheets, or the CSS. Before we go to the CSS or the lesson for today, I would like us to talk a bit about the assignments we were supposed to do. And in the assignment, we were supposed to create a simple login form and then sign up form. So unfortunately that only one person submitted her assignment, and she did quite a good job, and I recommended her for the good work she did. Now I would like to solve some of the challenges that the person who submitted her assignment faced. I know it was the first time, and then there may be certain things or certain questions that came to her mind that she wished she could have asked during the assignment. So I'm going to solve that problem. That means that I'm going to take you through the assignment so that you know what you were supposed to have done. If you have not submitted it, you can correct it if you have made mistakes. And for the person who submitted her assignment, she will look at this and then upgrade it to a point that she will like herself. Alright, so this lesson will be quite long because we're going to do a couple of things, especially this one, and then we'll move to the CSS session where we also do a lot of things. Then we'll come back to this form and then upgrade it, style it, and then make it very beautiful. So this video is very long, so stick and stay. You're going to do a couple of things here. Alright, so these things are not needed, so we just go straight to the HTML forms. Okay. Alright, so creating forms, and we are not going to do plenty of reading. We are just going to the board and then you will know what to do. Okay. Alright, then let me go to my screen. Yeah, so in the assignment, this is what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to create an HTML file in your project folder, and then you name it signin.html. So we are going to do that one. So let me clean this place. Okay, I'll clean this place, and then I'll go to the title, and then I'll change it to maybe sign in forms. Okay, then I'll save it as form.html. So I'll go to the file on the menu bar, and then I'll go to save as. I'll click on save as, and then it will open directly for me to save it. So let me see where I'm supposed to save it. So we have the folder, project folder already on the desktop. So let's see. I'll go to the desktop, then go to Hello World folder. So if you have yours, maybe you named it Aspire Project. That is the folder I received from the person who submitted. So he made it Aspire Project, and that means that every project that we do, she's going to save it in that project, and that is a good work. So my own is Hello World. So I'll go into the Hello World, and then I'll add it. I'll rename it to forms.html. Alright, so if you did this, you did a good job. So I renamed it into, or I saved it as forms.html. Now let me clean this part. Okay, it's not needed now. We will go into it very soon. Okay, so having done this, let's try and save it, and then After saving it, we will then open it in our browser. So we'll right click on the page and then go to open in browser. To open it in the browser for us, in this case it will open it in the Google Chrome, and then we see a blank document with a title. Okay, let me close this one, with a title sign in forms. Okay, so this is where the title always appears. Alright, this is where the title always appears. So you can see that sign in forms is here. So, and then here is the folder which contains our project. So this is the URL of our project, and then this is the title of the project. Okay, the titles are always found on top, on the very top of the project or the browser. So we minimize it and go to our text editor. So in the form, this is what we're supposed to do. At first, we have to create. Let me shift my microphone small. Okay. At first, we have to create the HTML syntax using the form tags. So just say form, then we add our closing tag form. So this is the first thing we need to do. So if you did this, you are good. Then we need to divide it. So just use our div tag, div, then we'll close it. Now we can create our label, and in the assignment we are supposed to create for there's a sign-in form, so it should be first name, last name, email, and then password, or we can just use email and then password, then the sign-in button. So we are going to create for email, password, and then sign-in button. Okay, so we first create our label. That is, use the label tag. Use our label, then we create the name, that is email. So we create the email, then you go to the next line, then use an input tag. Remember, an input tag is not supposed to have a closing tag. It's just an open one of those specialized tags. So you just input without a closing tag. So we just add the type of input we want. So you type, then you click on enter, it will automatically add it. So this is what it's supposed to do, input type. Okay, and what input are we looking at? We are looking at an input that will relate to what we are supposed to do, or will relate to our label, and our label says email. So we have an input for email. If you go through the second lesson, or maybe the slide, you see that we have types of input. We have the password input, we have the placeholder input, we have text input, we have lots. So now we have email input as well, so we are just going to add email to it. Okay, input type email, then we can add our placeholder. We click on enter, and then we can type something into our placeholder, like enter email. Okay, enter email, and this place is going to serve as an information to us. Okay, so now let's save it and see what we have done so far. Click on save, then we go into our browser, then we'll refresh it. Okay, we'll refresh it. Okay, now we see that it has appeared here, email, then our input is here, enter email is in it, and enter email is not going to form part of the project. It's just something like a watermark that will give information about what we are supposed to do. So it's here. Alright, let's minimize this one. Okay, we are going to do everything at the same time, so let me minimize this one small, so that we can have all the uh, all those things on the page at the same time, so that yes, once we see, then we'll be reloading it. So we are done with the first part. So we just go to another div, then we create our label for the password. Okay, so you see we use label, then we go to, we type password. Okay, label, um, label. Okay, then we go to the next line, then add another input, which is also supposed to be a type 1. So which input are we looking at? We are looking at an input type of password. Okay, now password. Now we are not supposed to use email or use text or anything, because using password will give you a control. You can see that as you are typing, when we refresh it, as you are typing, it will transform it into something that we are not supposed to know. Okay, because password are secret words, so once you are typing, somebody must not know what you are typing. So you see that when you use the input type password, HTML will identify it and then use the appropriate keywords or appropriate symbols to represent it whilst you are typing. So let's save it. We've done that, and then reload it. Now the password has also appeared here. Now let's try to type and see. You see that as I'm typing, I'm typing aspire. So let's see. You see that it has transferred them into some key point. Okay, it has transformed them into symbols because we used type password, and that is what we are supposed to use. I realized in the assignment the person who submitted used input type text, and so once you type the password, you see exactly what the person is typing. Okay, so now that you have corrected it, I know you do a good job, and then go back, change the input type at the password section to password, input type password. Now you can also use placeholder here to also say enter password, so that the user knows that at this place I'm supposed to use I'm supposed to type password, at this place I'm supposed to type email. So you go to our next div, then we create our button in this div. So you can in this the div to the button to, we are supposed to use input. Okay, so we're going to use input type, and I know at this point you know that you're supposed to use input type submit or button. Okay, now we use input type submit. Now let me quickly go over the differences between input type submit and input type button. Input type submit will automatically upload your information or post the information to a database if we have. Okay, if we have a database, it will submit it or to post it to the database. But a button will serve as a place that if you want to go to another place, that is, you use button. Okay, to be as a link between two things. So in case I use input type button, when I click on it, it's not going to submit or it's not going to post my information, but rather it will be looking at taking me to another place or another link. Okay, so that is why we use input type submit in the form, so that the HTML or the database will know that at this point I'm supposed to submit or send the informations to the database or get informations from the database. So we can see submit here. So we go to we'll add a value to it, and the value means that what we are supposed to type in. Okay, instead of the placeholder here, we have a value. That means what we are supposed to do. So the value here is sign in. Okay, now we will save it, then we reload it, then we have it here. So there is a simple sign-in form that we were supposed to create. I know in the assignment there were other fields like first name, second name, but at least this is what we were supposed to have done. So let's say, let me see, if I want to sign in into your website, I will just go business@asparghana.com, then our password, then I'll click on sign in. Then it automatically, you see that when I click on sign in, the information have been removed. That means that it's supposed to send it to another place. Okay, if I use input type button, let me save it, then reload my thing. Let me reload. If I reloaded it, okay, let's see, I type business@asparghana.com, then I type my password. If I click on sign in, you see that the informations are still there, because the command is not telling the form to submit. It's only telling it to lead the form to some directory or some page which we have not included. So it's not doing anything, and the informations are still there. Okay, but when we use the submit, the information is deleted, because at that point the informations have been sent to the database, either to retrieve informations or to register. Okay, so this is the different things about button and then submit, input type button and input type submit. Okay, I hope we all understand this. And so this is a quick way of doing or building an HTML form or HTML sign-in form. And the second one was that we were supposed to create for a sign-up form. Okay, so I will create another one. So I'll copy these things. I'll copy everything, other things, then I'm creating it on the same file, because we are going to do something when we get to the let's say the CSS part, or let me just create another HTML file for sign up. Okay, so I'll go to file and then create a new file, then I'll save it. I'll save it as signup.html, signup.html. Okay, I'll come and copy everything here, then I'll paste it. Now I'll make few changes to we are going to use these things. Okay, we are going to use them, so I'll just go up, then create first name, use the first name. So you say label. Now let's just keep long, so let's just pick one thing. Let me say this one. Yeah, let's copy. Let me leave some spaces in between so that you know where they start and where they end. Okay, this part is first name, and then input type is, this time we will say it's a text. Okay, so placeholder, enter first name. We copy the same thing, copy this same thing, then use this and say last name, still input text, and then use last name. We'll now go to we copy. Okay, we copy it, we place here, and then the label is gender. Okay, now we come here. The input type should change because we are going to select two things, either male or female. So we are supposed to create a different input type for it, and this input type we are going to create is called check or radio. Okay, so now let's use radio now. Then radio. Okay, then we have here too. We are not going to use placeholder, we are going to use value. Yeah, value, let's say are we supposed to let's say male. Okay, then we create another one, we create two, and we use another the next one for female, so we just add FE here. Now we will save it. Then let's change this type to app sign up. Okay, aside that everything is okay, so we just save it and then reload our form. No, okay, this is a different one, so we just open it in the browser. Okay, we open it in the browser. So sign up.html will be opened in the browser. Okay, we still have sign in form because we didn't change the title. Now you see we have them here, and unfortunately our difference it didn't come. Okay, yes, we are supposed to be value. I think we will use label for them. Yes, gender. So we use label. Okay, we will use label for them. So we copy the label and then paste them here and say male. Then we come to the next one, paste it and say female. We save it, we reload it, and yes, we have them here. So there is a simple sign up form. So we have first name, let's say Mary, and then we have here, alright, I'm sure, I don't know where I got this name from though. So we type our Gmail, business@aspire.ghana.com. Then we type our password. Then we say I'm a female. Okay, so this is a radio, so I'm a female. Then I'll click on sign up. Again, the input type is submit, so the informations have been deleted. That means that it has been submitted. Okay, we have another input type. Okay, so we use different input types and see. So another input type we are going to use is check. Okay, we are going to use check and see what we also get. Okay, we also have check then. So we save it and reload it and see. Oh, check button. Let me see. Input type. What is happening here? we have other input types that we can use. Okay, we have radio button, so we have the radio button. Okay, so yes, and then we also have check boxes, so we can also use checkbox. I used earlier I used check button. No, checkbox. Okay, checkbox. We will save it and then we reload it. Then we have a checkbox here. So when you click on it, it's going to check. Click on it, it's going to check. Alright. We also have select that we can also use. We also have select, input type select, that we can also use. And okay, we also have input type select that we can also use, and that means that sorry, we have other things. So we are going to look at the select input types. Okay, so here we are going to cut this from there. So we go to the select. Okay, and these are all input types that we can use. Okay, then we go to option, and this is where we type maybe male, then we copy and then paste it and say female. So we save it, we reload it, and you see we have here male selected already. So when we click on it, it's supposed to drop down, so it will drop down so that we can have female. Okay, so to avoid problems, you need to make this you need to get 3 of these. Okay, you need to have 3 of this one, then you paste 1 for the first, then you say maybe gender. Okay, you write gender, and then the person, what was that, what, gender. Okay, you save it, then you reload it, so that gender is already selected, and it will know that you're supposed to put gender there. So when you click on it, then you select a male or female. So okay, so this is what we were supposed to do, and quite only one person submitted it, and I'm impressed with how she did her work. So if you know you are the one who submitted your work, you can go through to make the changes that I've made, and if you have not also submitted your work, you can go over this video and then see what you can do to help yourself. Alright, so we are done with this, and then we are going to the main event for today, and that is learning CSS. So we talk about CSS. As earlier I sent you the notes, so I know you've gone over. Before we start, I'm just going to talk a little bit about attribute, HTML attribute. Okay, now let me use you for example. Every one of us has an attribute. Okay, an attribute simply means what we are capable of, or what defines us. Okay, what defines us. And in web design, the same thing. We have 2 things we can use to define a tag. Okay, an HTML tag, and that is the attribute. So we have 2 attributes. We have the class attribute and then the ID attribute. Okay, the class attribute and then the ID attribute. And the class attribute is used in general. Okay, when you use the class attribute, it affects so many tags. any tag that you put that class or the attribute name on it, whatever thing you do, whatever thing you say about that tag will affect all of them. So imagine we have in our form, we have div here, then we put class attributes here, then we give it an attribute name of maybe box. Okay, wherever we put this class name, okay, wherever we put this class name, whatever thing we do to this name box in the styling will affect it. So for instance, if I copy this, okay, I use box. Now let me save it. I use box and I go to my CSS. I'll talk about how we came about how we came to this place, but let me just say something. If I use box, okay, here, and I say border, maybe if I say border 2 pixel solid, and I save it, forms.html box style. Okay, we don't have the link yet. Okay, so if I you see that if I save it and then reload it, it will put a border around the div. Okay, that is the division on on the label and then input, the division in which the input and the label are formed in. So that is why it has covered the email and then the input place, okay, or the email and then the input session. So if I copy this, or if I cut this place and then add it to the form, let me add the space, add it to the forms. Now I'll put the attribute on the form, so it's going to affect everything within the form. Okay, now let's say, you see that it has come to cover everything that is within the form, because the attribute is on the form, so everything within the form will get affected. Everything within the form will get affected, because that is the thing that is defining the form. Okay, so we go to anything we add, like let's say background, you say I don't want background, I just want background red. It is also going to affect everything because we have put the attribute on the form. Okay, and again, if the attribute is to be on the input, the attribute is put on the input, is going to affect only the input. Okay, so that is the attribute that we have. Okay, the class attribute. Now let's go to the CSS. There are two types of styling in CSS, and basically CSS is the only thing that defines or makes our website or web designs different. Okay, you can have your HTML, everything will be there. Without CSS, it's like the skeleton. So CSS is actually going to add flesh to your website. So we have two types of styling. We have the inline styling and then external. We have the internal styling and then the external styling. The internal styling is when we add all the styles together with the HTML or on the HTML file. So in the internal styling, we have the styles written on the HTML file, and that is quite complicated. By using the style section or the style form, um, by using the style element, you can create your styles, everything on the HTML file at the same time. So we can go to, you can say declare style, the internal style will allow you to write all your styles in the HTML file, which is sometimes complicated. Not sometimes, because you may have a lot of styling on your file, and everything needs to be on the HTML file is quite complicated. So to avoid these complications, we have an external CSS or external styling. By using the link, is able to communicate, the HTML and the CSS are able to communicate. So we write the link in the head section. Okay, we write the link in the head section. You can see the head open tag is here and then the closing here. So you can have the link here. And that's why we have link relative to style sheet, then which type is a text slash CSS. Then there is the link that is the reference to style.css. So style.css should actually be in the same folder as excuse me, style.css should be in the same folder as your HTML file. Okay, if you happen to do your CSS in another folder, you may have to go through some processes to link them, which is not advisable. So I advise that you put the styles and then the HTML format for files in one folder so that you can easily link them. So as I've linked them here, I can now go to the style.css, then apply my styles there by typing whether class or ID name. And class IDs or class element class attribute are distinct, so they give them a dot operator. Let me say a dot assignment. So to be able to identify it as a class, you need to put a dot behind it. If you remove the dot, it's not going to identify it as a CSS name. So you add the dot, and then the IDs use hashtag. Okay, so if it was ID, you just go and type hashtag and it will identify it. But since it's a class, you use dot. Okay, and now dot, then the attribute name, then we can go on and style it. Okay, so we are going to style our form very quick, and then we'll do other things as well. We will create a nav bar, a simple nav bar, and then we will create other things as well. Then we'll bring the class to a close. Alright, so I've linked my styles here. So we have link relative style sheet type text slash CSS href style.css. So we have our form, our div, and everything. We have everything here. So we save it. Let me reload it to get rid of everything. We are going to start. So let me get rid of everything that we have here. Alright, we have our sign-in form. So we are going to create our styling. So to do that, we will start from the top, the very top. Anything that we want to style, we start from the very top. So we have the form, and then we go to form class, say form box. Okay, when we use form box, then we copy it. We don't need to make mistake, because if you don't type the name correctly, it's not going to accept it. So we save it and then go to styling, then we type form box here. Then we can now start styling it. So where do we want to place it? How do we want to do it? So we are going to use positions, we are going to use backgrounds, we are going to use borders and everything. So we are going to use background. So the first thing we do is we use background, especially if we don't want the same background as the body. So use background. Background. Let's say we will use color gray, or let me say light gray. You can use a color of your choice. You use light gray. Let's save it and see what we have achieved. Okay, so we have our form with a background gray. We just create a border for it, border, and let's say we have a border of 1 pixel, then solid white. Okay, this is the how we use the border. We need to declare the size of the border we want, and then the color. Okay, so we resize it and see. Okay, it has added it. Since it's white and then the background is white, you cannot see it clearly, but let's use solid, and solid always means black. Okay, so we save it and then go, then we have black. We can also use border radius, and at this point let's use 4 pixels. 4 pixels. Then let's see what we have also achieved there. You see that the borders have curled. Okay, and that is so nice. Let's also let's see, position. Okay, let's position it. And then at this point we use absolute. Okay, we use absolute and see what we have. Okay, so now it has gotten rid of all the unnecessary spaces. Now it has given us the space that we need. Okay, all right. So if we are we can also add let's see, shadow. So we can go like box shadow, but that is quite complicated, so I'll just use something like no, for now let's leave, because it's quite complicated with the box shadow. So we will use this. We now go to another class. We go to I'm not going to use anything here. We are going to the label. Okay, so we have label class. Let's say label name. Okay, and that is the class we are going to, the class name we are going to use, label name. And then we will save in the HTML and then go to CSS, add our dots, and then paste it. So the label name, it's a font, so we need to know that we are going to style a font. So we just go to font type, or say font family, to determine the font family. So here I'll use Kandara. Oh, what's that? I'll use Kandara. Then I'll go to the font size. So we go to font size. Then I'll use 15 pixel. Then I'll go to color. Then I'll let me use any color. You go to color and then use I want something that will be, so we have dark red. Let's save it and see what we have achieved so far. Okay, so you can see what we have achieved. Our font has been changed, and then let me use quite a bigger size font. just change to 25, and when we refresh it, you see that yes, we can also use okay, we can also add display to it, how we want it to be displayed, and we can say block, and block means that it's going to be on top of the input. Okay, you want it to be block, so it's going to be on top of the input. All right, so we have this. So we can also add the same class to all the label. Okay, so that all the label will have one property. Okay, so let's save it and go to and see. You see that all the label have one property. Okay, now we are done with it. Let's go to the input. Go to the input, then add the class to it. Input class. So we say input. We just say input. Okay, we will save it, and then we copy, then go and we just follow the same procedure as we have done. Okay, so we can say width, that is how the long or the width of the box. So let's say 100% because we want it to span across. Then we say border radius. We know what border radius does. Okay, border radius, let's use 4 pixel. Okay, so let's save it and see what we have. Okay, we can also add width to the form box. Let's say 100%. Then it will also span across. Yes, it will also span across the. So we have. Now let's remove the positioning. This one is just a bad something. So just let's leave everything there. All right. So we have this. We can also specify the height. We can also specify the height, and we can say maybe 30 pixel. 30 pixel. We will save it, and then when we reload it, you see that yes, it become bigger. All right. So the same thing, we just add the class to the class name to all the inputs. And when we save it, we will have the same thing. No, we are not supposed to, not the. We are supposed to add to the. Yes, the password, so that they will all have the same feature. So yes, we have it. So we then go to the button. So we have the class. You have the class. Let's say submit button. Then we copy it like the same thing. So I wouldn't talk again. So just look at the type of properties I'm going to give to it. So just say Coding is quite a hectic thing, but you need to go through, because whatever you do, you need to save it, and then you can know, you see how it looks like. So it's part of it. So you just go, need to save it, and then very soon you cut down the hassle, because there are quite other things you can do, and you find yourself doing it, even you wouldn't get tired. You wouldn't get tired at all. When you do it for a long time, you wouldn't get tired. All right. Um, with 100%. 100%. Okay. Okay, we can specify this place. Okay. Let's not make it 100%. Let's say, let's create a boundary for it. 300 pixels. Yeah, because if you add 100%, it's going to span across all over the page available. So let's, okay, it's quite. So let's use 400. Okay, then you have 350 pixel for the input. We will save it. Mm, okay, we add some margins to it. Margin, and you know what margins do. Margins, you know what margins do. If you don't, we go over, then you know what margins do. Okay, we have a course on margin, not a course like lesson on margin. So I'll give you the reference, and then you go through and know what margins actually do. Okay, we have margin, we have padding, we have border. As you go to it, you read about it. Okay, so submit. We just add to margin left. Need to add about let's add 200 pixels and see if it does not. We need to put them at the center. Okay, let me use align. So we have margin left about 50 pixels. Now let's do the calculation. The entire width is 150. 150? Yes, it's 150 pixel, and then the box is 400. So we need to center this into the middle, into the center. We need to put this into the center. So we will deduct 400 from 150 from 400, and it will give us 250. That means that we are supposed to um, deduct the 250 into 2, so that we can have different margin. Then margin on the left will be the same as the margin on the right. So let's make this one 200 to. Okay, so now we can have margin 100, because the 100 will go the other side, then 100 will go the other side, then 100 will go on top. Alright, so we have our button at the middle. Okay, so we have our label, text. We will just put them into the center. Text align center. Now they will also move to the center of the page. They've also moved to the center of the page, and this is quite good. Let's move the. Okay, they're moving the entire box 20 pixel left. so that we will position it in the middle. Okay, 20 is small, it appears. We just use, now everything is our practical, so we need to look at it until you have a perfect position. I think this one is good. Okay, enter your password, then you go to a sign-in form. Just say another thing, font size. You can also add font size to this one, so let's say 18 pixel. Okay, we have a nice sign-in form for you. Okay, you have a nice sign-in. So we can also create something at the bottom that will allow us to either sign up. Okay, so we use another div. Okay, so let's bring this div, copy and paste it, then add our label, the P, or P, so we say don't have account, then we add our A tag because it's going to be a link. Okay, so our A tag will be here. Okay, so our A tag will be here, and then we say sign up, and in this link we can add the form dots, the sign up.html on it, then it will open it when we call it. So we have sign up.html. Okay, so we can put our sign up.html, the HTML file we created for the sign up. So once we create don't have account, let me add the question mark, don't have account, then we add our link ahref signup.html, then the name of the link will be sign up, then it can lead us to the signup.html. so let's see what that one will come about. Okay, so we reload it and then we have it here. So don't have account, sign up. So when we click on it, it's supposed to take us to the, oh yes, we have it. So we have our sign up dot. Now we didn't change the name, so let me just go quickly and then let me open that file and then make the changes. Open file, open file. Let me see, our export is not done yet, so that's why the machine is slowing down. Adobe software use lot of space, so we will use it this way. We are encoding a video on this. So okay, sign up. That's why I said that there's need for you to put all the files in one folder. So this one, as we reference it, just go and bring it to us. So let me use the sign up form. Sign up form. Then we will save it. Okay, so this is what we have, sign up form. Okay, and when we go back, we go to our form. So we are trying to develop this form, and then you update yours, and then you create this, give me the feedback. Okay, so we are not supposed to put all the files like the sign in and then the sign up form at one place. There will be a time we are going to do that, and that is when you are advanced. You can create the sign in and the sign up at one place, but only one will appear at a time until you click on something. Only one will appear. So for now we are going to create different files for them, sign in.html and then sign up.html. Okay, so when we click on this link, it takes us to sign up form, and that is a good job that we've done. So let's try and then style the other one, then we'll bring the class to an end. Okay, so let me go and add the class name label to, because we also have label. Okay, So everywhere we have label, everywhere we have label, we are going to paste it here. Okay, we are going to paste it. What's that? Everywhere we have a label, we are going to add it. So label, we have you add them. We'll add them so that they can have the same properties as the other. Okay, and then everywhere we have, let's save it. Then everywhere we have input, we're also going to add the input there, so that we don't want to have so many styles. Okay, so we're going to paste them. Input, we have input here again. Come to input and then paste it, input type. Then we go and bring the button, submit button, because this is also a submit button. So just copy it, then go paste it on the submit button. We will save it and then we will see what happens. So we go here, we click on alright, we need to also put the link here, because so that they can also have. So we are going to copy the link, else it's not going to take us, because it doesn't have the link to associate itself with the styling. So we need to also link it and then save it. Then when we save it, yes, automatically we have everything updated here. Unfortunately, okay, there's one thing, form box, we didn't bring the form box, and so we need to bring it here. Okay, so we will save it and then we have it here, the same thing as the same styling as the other one, but this one is not showing because we need to, it will only show when we drop down, because we added it to the option. So when we click on it, you see that we added it to the labels inside, so that's why that's giving us these things. So when we add it to let's add the submit button. Okay, let's add submit button onto the select, so that it will also have a button type of thing. Okay, so let's save it, and then you see that you have a button type of thing here. So when we click on the drop, it's going to give us, unfortunately it has the background as the same as the thing. So what we can do now is that we will change the input or the attribute name on it, so that we can have different styling for it. So we can say select button. So go to select button, and now we will now copy it and then give it a different styling. Okay, have a different styling for it, so that all of them will stand out. But I would like to use some things from it, except the backgrounds and other things, so I will only leave the, so I'll copy and then leave the background, margin 15. Okay, I'll save it and then reload it, then I have it. Let me just add the background to it, and let me see, background, let's make the background let's see, gray. Okay, gray. We save it and see what happens. Yes, and this is what we have. This is what we have, so that we can select them. We can select them at any time. So there is a nice sign in and then sign up form. So the same way we did for the sign in form, we created don't have account sign up. So we can also add the same thing as already have account sign in. Okay, already have account sign in. So we just say already have account, just add only already have an account sign in. And at this time, we are going to add, you know what we'll do, sign in forms. Okay, the name is forms.html. We should have been sign in.html, but let's say forms.html. And at this point, we are expecting that when we click on it from the sign up button or the sign up page, it should also take us to the sign in. So I say okay, sign up, okay, okay, okay. Now add some styles to those the text. Okay, they already have an account, sign in. Then so we click on sign in, then take us to the sign up, the sign in form. Already don't have an account, sign up, and then it will take us to the. So this is a wonderful form that we've created, and so I would like you to update your assignment. If you have not done it, you do it and update it. The person who also submitted hers should also go over and then try to modify it, use some colors, different colors, and then make it beautiful, maybe more beautiful than mine. Okay, so thank you for this lesson, and we'll meet with another lesson that is creating different types of forms, like forms with backgrounds and other things. All right, you can even do it and surprise me with it since you have the reference book. All right, so thank you for the lesson.